Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening everyone. First tonight, another 70,000 Tasmanians will soon be in line for the COVID vaccine as the rollout expands to those over 40. But staff in aged care and disability services are demanding a clearer vaccination plan for their industries.
Drivers quickly found their way to Hobart's new COVID testing clinic at Macquarie Point. Daily test numbers have spiked to 1,000 at times in recent weeks, but the real surge has been in those seeking the jab.
We've seen a large surge in bookings over the last 7 days, with thousands of appointments being made and our clinics nearly booking out as quickly as we're opening them.
And it's about to become a whole lot busier.
From 8 June, anyone 40 years and over is eligible to receive a free vaccine.
Roughly 70,000 more people will be eligible for the vaccine. Attention is also turning to another key group.
I want to encourage all aged care workers to get the vaccination. Protect yourself, protect those that you're caring for.
An estimated 70% of Tasmanian aged care workers have been vaccinated.
Certainly from my experience in recent months, it's been patchy, and talking to many of my colleagues in the industry, it's very much down to the individuals going and booking themselves into clinics.
National Cabinet is considering mandatory jabs for the sector. The proposal is before federal health authorities.
I expect that we will introduce mandatory vaccinations for aged care workers once a national timeline has been established.
Disability services want a clearer plan for how they'll see the rollout. St Giles says 30% of its staff and clients have had the vaccine.
We do need to pick up the momentum, and we do need to accelerate the strategy to make sure that vulnerable people are being looked after.
Meanwhile, there's hope the Victorian border will reopen in time for the AFL match at Blunston Arena on June 13. And although this was the health advice for footy crowds in South Australia,
if you are at Adelaide Oval and the ball comes towards you, my advice to you is to duck and just do not touch that ball.
Tassie's health boss was a little more practical.
You can get a fair sort of whack from a wet football, so I'd recommend people avoid it because of that reason alone.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
More than 50 extra beds will be opened at hospitals across the state to cater for a predicted surge in winter demand. The state government has announced an additional 28 beds for the Launceston General and 6 for the North West Regional. 24 beds will also come online this month in the new trauma surgical unit at the Royal Hobart Hospital, but the Health Minister was tight-lipped on the total price tag.
This is an issue of management. This is an issue of working together to find solutions.
Jeremy Rockcliffe also met with health representatives to discuss issues in the sector. East Coast businesses affected by the Tasman highway closure will be offered financial assistance. The government is urging owners who are struggling to register for the funds, with a package to be announced next week.
Scott Sinclair has owned the local supermarket in Orford for 12 years. He struggled through last year's COVID shutdown. Now he's facing a new battle, a major highway hurdle.
Our turnover instantly, we've dropped between 20 and 25%. So yeah, instantly, and it'll no doubt be more on the weekend because we're going to miss all the passing trade.
He has been forced to use the alternative route, Wailangta Road, while work is carried out to remove hundreds of tonnes of rock hanging above the highway.
I travel that twice a day now. Look, both ends of the road, or each end of the road, are in great repair. It's just the middle section that doesn't see a lot of sunlight. It's very boggy and very wet at the moment and slippery.
Scott hopes he will be thrown a lifeline by the government next week.
We're designing this package so that it is as targeted as it needs to be to support businesses that might be finding it difficult to make ends meet right now.
I certainly welcome the government's offer there of financial assistance if and when it happens. I'm certainly not the only business that's hurting.
Tourist business the Maria Island Walk has had to take passengers from Hobart to Triabunna on the gravel road, adding around half an hour to its trips.
We drive a 20-seater bus, a coaster bus, so it's, it does mean you need to take it a bit slower. It's not a four-wheel drive or anything like that, but it's manageable.
The state government says $1 million was committed in the election to help resurface Wailangta Road. Wet weather is predicted for the area next week, which may pose delays.
That will have an impact on the road. We will constantly maintain that road.
Those that need financial support are being urged to register online at Business Tasmania. Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmanian News.
Selling for a staggering $1.5 million, a yet-to-be-built townhouse has set a record price for Launceston. It's another sign the property market is booming. So much so, the federal opposition says a scheme designed to help families buy into the property market has been rendered useless.
Ground has only just broken on the Jack townhouses, but it hasn't stopped buyers. One's already been snapped up for $1.5 million.
And that was the record sale for a townhouse in Launceston, which is a fantastic achievement, especially given that the property's not even erected yet.
Demand high, with 5 of the 7 yet-to-be-built townhouses already being purchased.
There's not a lot of residential land left in Launceston, so to be able to develop the inner city townhouses in such an area is fantastic.
Both ends of the housing market are skyrocketing, and many of the cheaper homes available need extensive renovations, like this South Launceston property.
But it's also the perfect example of what's wrong with the federal government's new housing scheme.
This renovator's dream, rubble and all, is one of only 3 selling in Launceston that meets the eligibility requirements for the Family Home Guarantee Scheme. Labor is arguing the $300,000 cap needs to be raised.
If they did that, there'd be more homes that single parents here in Launceston could buy and take advantage of that new scheme.
The scheme sees the federal government guarantee home loans of single parents so they don't have to pay mortgage insurance. The Federal Housing Minister hasn't ruled out reviewing the caps before the scheme comes into effect on July 1st. Hobart's supply woes are set for a boost, thanks to a new Risdon Vale development.
We are very excited because it is already planning approved for 132 lots, residential building lots.
But it's going to take a lot more than this to solve Tasmania's housing crisis.
It's well documented that our market's extremely competitive and there's a severe shortage of supplies.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The funding-starved Taste of Tasmania Festival could soon have a new backer, with the state government calling for expressions of interest to run a refreshed event over the New Year period. The Premier says it's important the hospitality and tourism sector doesn't miss out on the festival 2 years in a row. The EOI will run until the end of this month. Police have detected a man driving at more than 200 kilometres an hour through Hobart's northern suburbs. A 27-year-old driver has had his BMW confiscated and seized after police detected a vehicle speeding across the Bowen Bridge in 80 km/h zone. The man was arrested and charged. He's now due to face the Magistrates Court at a later date. Tasmania Police says the incident was of great concern and the result of a vehicle crashing at such a speed would have had fatal consequences. A special sitting of the Federal Circuit Court has been held in Launceston to welcome 2 new judges. Marcus Turnbull and Sandra Taglieri were recently appointed to the Circuit Court. The pair will be involved in dealing with family law disputes and both come with decades of experience in the legal profession. Federal Attorney General Michaelia Cash was among those who attended the ceremonial sitting this morning. Tourism Tasmania has launched its guide for winter, showcasing the state's best attractions. Incoming tourists are also being given long johns to help them prepare for Tassie's cold temperatures.
Australia's a summer country. We're always looking for the sun. What we're encouraging customers to do is go full winter. The off-season in Tassie, create that association between winter and Tasmania.
The tourism body is encouraging operators to create winter experiences like Stello's Speakeasy themed cocktail bar.
We're inspired to create something that draws people out in the dark, that was really warm and cosy and give people, a reason to come out.
Over 350 operators are offering curated experiences as part of the program. Living in one of the most bushfire-prone areas in the world, One Tasmanian Council is working to better protect its infrastructure and residents. Hobart has released a draft management strategy to help prepare for what could be catastrophic fire conditions.
A planned burn to save lives, experts preparing our bushland for the threat of fire. To help reduce future risk, Hobart City Council has released its draft bushfire management strategy.
It draws on the very best of climate science, it draws on the findings of various royal commissions into bushfires. So we've really learnt all of those lessons and inserted that into this bushfire strategy.
Looking at several high-risk locations, including Ferntree, Mount Nelson and Summerlees Road. And in a city surrounded by nature, it's not just bush properties in the firing line. Preparing for the potential of an ember attack, bringing a blaze right into the CBD.
What keeps me up at night is worrying that Hobart has a very catastrophic fire on a day where we have very, very strong winds, where we've got a lot of fuel in the landscape.
And while 50 years may have passed, for many Tasmanians, the memory of the 1967 fires lives on as a worst-case scenario.
A lot of memory, and a lot of passed-on memory about those things as well. It's those, and there's a number of other fires in and around the southeast over time that have informed us about what the risk is.
Now urging locals to do their bit to help keep the community safe.
Cleaning out gutters and ensuring that vegetation is kept away from buildings, and also that they have a plan of when they are actually going to leave their dwelling should they be impacted by a bushfire.
The strategy is now open for public comment. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News. Community groups are rubbing their hands together with more than 60,000 litres of free hand sanitizer on the way. Chain store Shiploads is donating $500,000 worth of the product to volunteer organisations and services.
Well, we had a problem. We had an overstock problem of sanitizer. This time last year we had warehouse full of sanitizer and the community needed it. They bought it in droves.
We have 500 staff and we have many hundred of people that we support in the community, so we go through a lot in the work that we do.
The donations are expected to reach around 300 different groups.
To local footy, and Launceston says its first loss of the season was a reality check for players. The 15-point defeat to the Northern Bombers 2 weeks ago also saw Firebrand forward Cody Thorpe controversially rubbed out for one match for this front-on bump. He will miss this weekend's clash against the informed Kimbra, paving the way for his brother and coach Mitch Thorpe to play for the first time this year.
It's opened the key position forward spot for us, so I'll return to the side, which is exciting. I'm looking forward to playing.
A really good challenge for us, obviously coming off 2 wins, which has been good to start the second round of games, and then, we get a good test of where we're at.
Meanwhile, Lauderdale will be without attacking spearhead Alan Christensen against Glenorchy tomorrow. The Kimbra Lions concede they can't afford to lose many matches over the next month if they are to challenge for the State Premier League title. The side currently sits 4th on the ladder, and tomorrow's battle against league heavyweights the Glenorchy Knights won't be easy.
We're hoping that if we can get one over them, it puts us back into contention and, throws a bit of a spanner in the works, so it'll be a really tight race up top.
In the women's, South Hobart says it won't be underestimating Launceston United after they stole victory in the dying minutes of the Cup competition last weekend. And we're used to international competitors being off the cards, but back in 1991, Tasmania's Three Peaks race had a similar all-Australian feel. For tonight's flashback, we're rewinding 30 years to the famous race when foreign teams weren't here for an entirely different reason.
In the year, Tasmanians were urged to pass it on.
So come on, Tasmania, it's in your best interest. Makes a good deal of sense, pass it on.
Internationals passed up the 1991 Three Peaks race, tough economic times credited as the culprit. So a scaled-down fleet of 15 entries set off from Beauty Point for the third running of the event. An animated illustration showed the way, but crews didn't need to rely solely on maps. GPS was available for navigation that year for the first time, although Ericsson had something else, pedal power, on board its boat. But the front-runner in the offshore sailing and endurance running event was Hazard Tas. Flinders Island's Mount Strzelecki greeted those on foot for the first land climb, a gruelling 65-kilometre effort from Lady Baron up the mountain and return. Hazard Tas's Garth Foley and Wayne Byron took nearly 7 hours to complete the challenge. Then it was off to the east coast. Calm conditions kept the pace painfully slow, but competition was closing in.
The Hazard Tas runners and the Escapade runners, the British pair of Bothwick and Cunningham, left within seconds of each other on the 42-kilometre marathon run to the top of Mount Freycinet and return.
Rare relief for the skippers before heading through Denali Canal, where precision was everything.
The toll is $1 and a can of beer. And underwater video systems were doing a couple of knots and happened to drop one can overboard before depositing the other in the bucket.
A dreadful waste. Mind you, the cans would have likely burst in the freezer-like temperatures atop Mount Wellington, the final leg for the contestants on foot.
Feeling good now.
Foley and Byron of Hazard Tas made it home in one piece, winners of the 1991 Three Peaks race. The event was at risk of ceasing the following year when sponsorship and participation came under a cloud, but it overcame its challenges to return in 1992 and would continue uninterrupted until 2013. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Good evening. Showers for the west, central and southern parts today. Sunny breaks over the north and east. 11 in Hobart and Burnie. Launceston 13, 12 in Devonport. Around the state today, St Helens 13, King and Flinders Island, Smithton and Lowhead all 12. Bushy Park and Strawn 11. Maria Island reached 10 today, 9 at Grove. Clouds scattered across the state today. Areas of clear skies in the north and east. Further afield and high cloud across northern parts associated with a low cloud over southeastern Australia. Tomorrow high extends across the mainland. A cold front lies west of Tasmania. Coastal waters and west to northwesterly winds at 15 to 25 knots, increasing to 35 knots with swells to 4 metres about the west and south. And a gale warning has been issued from Southeast Cape to Wineglass Bay. A strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters, including the southwest and central plateau lakes. Saturday's forecast: Hobart a shower 16, showers for Medina 13, Oatlands 11. Showers developing in Launceston, becoming windy 14. Showers and a very windy day forecast for Devonport 14 there. Lyweni 7 with showers developing. Burnie and Marrawar tomorrow windy with showers. Showers also for Strawn 14 there. In the east a shower or 2, St Helens and Orford 14. Swansea looking at a top of 15 degrees. Turning to Sunday now, and light showers for the north, east and west. Showers increasing about the west and extending statewide later. Monday, showers mostly about the northwest and central areas. And on to Tuesday, showers again mostly for the west, central and southern parts. Perth tomorrow fine and 21, Adelaide a shower 18, Melbourne a late shower 14, Sydney 18, 22 in Brisbane, Darwin a sunny day with a top of 31. And right now it's 7 in Hobart, 7 in Launceston and 6 in Devonport. Some wet and windy conditions for the weekend, Kim.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join Louise Hubar Saturday and Sunday nights. I'll see you later. Good night.